Hi there, this is Josh. He's a salmon. Salmon like Josh have the remarkable ability of sensing the world around them in a way far beyond our pitiful human comprehension. It's how he's able to always return with all his brothers and sisters to spawn their eggs in the very same place they were born. They're able to do this magical thing because Josh can sense the Earth's electromagnetic field with the power of electroreception. Wow! But what is the electromagnetic field, you might be asking? Well, allow me to tell you. To understand the Earth's electromagnetic field, we first have to understand the magnetosphere. The magnetosphere is the region of space surrounding Earth, where the dominant field is the magnetic field of Earth. This magnetic field is generated by electric currents due to the motion and convection currents because the Earth is spinning in a mixture of molten iron and nickel in Earth's outer core. This makes the Earth work like a magnet, with one pole being positive and the other being negative. The north geomagnetic pole actually represents the south pole of Earth's magnetic field, and vice versa. When it comes to Earth's magnetic field, because the opposite magnetic poles attract, and the north end of the magnet, like a compass needle, points towards Earth's south magnetic field, the magnetosphere is formed when the Earth's magnetic field makes contact with solar flares from the sun. If it weren't for the solar flares, the magnetic field would stretch infinitely into space on all sides. It's because of the massive amount of electrons, all with their own magnetic fields, that Earth's magnetic field compresses on the day side of the Earth and stretches the field into a long tail on the night side. The boundary between the solar winds and the Earth's magnetic field, it's called the magnetopause. This protects us a bit from the sun so we don't die. Yay! Now that we have a better idea of how the electromagnetic field works, how does wildlife sense it? Well, let me tell you. Let's look back at Josh. He's cool, isn't he? Like all animals that sense the magnetic field, Josh is a scientific wonder. It's not fully known how different fish detect magnetic fields. However, studies suggest that salmon like Josh might have small amounts of microscopic magnetite crystals in their tissue. A scientific study in Oregon State attempted to test this theory. They did this by exposing young and impressionable salmon to quick but strong magnetic pulses to see what happens to their brain. Long story short, it fricked them up pretty good. It was found that when they tested these salmon against non-pulsed salmon, when it came to their local environment, they didn't behave any differently from each other. But once they put them in a test environment, where they messed with their navigation maps some more, the pulsed salmon seemed to better adapt to it, probably due to their brains being a little messed up, while the control salmon were going nuts not knowing what was going on, facing in random directions. There is plenty of other contradicting theories when it comes to salmon navigation, but the one thing you need to know is that, seemingly, from the moment they hatch, they begin hyper-analyzing their environment, the water temperature, the acidity, minerals, etc., until they go upstream and around the far more open ocean, where they then start taking fine geographical coordinates of where they are based on how the magnetic field is oriented. This allows them to safely return to the place of their birth to lay more eggs. But oh no, what's that coming from? It's a salmon shark, oh no. Well, now that we're here, let's move on to talking about the very cool way sharks use Earth's magnetic field to hunt. This salmon shark's name is Davy. Davy is very cool. He pinpoints the location of his prey via electroreception. He's able to do this by sensing the light electromagnetic pulses as any muscular movement or twitches in the living animals and fish create small electrical currents. These travel very well in the water, and Davy has up to 1,500 little pores called ampullae of Lorenzini on their nose. There are two different kinds of receptors, ambulatory organs and tuberous organs. The ambulatory receptors are very sensitive to changes in electromagnetic fields and are tube-like in shape, making a pit in the skin. In each ambulatory receptor, there is a group of receptor cells, all supported by support cells. These all sit in a conductive gel that can pick up the electromagnetic fields in the form of subtle disturbances. Any disturbances in the gel is picked up by the sensory neuron, which connects to the nerve telling the shark where to go. The tuberous receptors are far less sensitive, but they work in very much the same way. with all the same parts just reorganized. They don't open out to the air like the ambulatory receptors. Instead, they are protected by covering cells, which both of these evolved from the shark's lateral line organs, which are used to help the shark know where it is in space. Pretty much the combination of these receptors make Davy a perfect underwater killing machine. Oh, but what's that overhead? Why, it's Rob the Robin. Migratory birds like Rob use the Earth's field to migrate during the winter and spring. The main thing you have to know about birds' sense of electromagnetic field is that, well, it's complicated. There are lots of theories and tests as to how birds like Rob sense electromagnetic fields. So I'll start with what we know for certain. We know that migratory birds make use of sensing small changes in the electromagnetic field in order to migrate in a consistent direction. They can tell where they are and where they're going and how to get back. Now, here's how we think birds can do that. The main thing you have to know is very, very basic spin chemistry and quantum entanglement. This theory is based around the concept where two molecules with unpaired electrons at the right distance from each other, when these conditions are met, they can exist in a state either with their spin axes in the same direction or in the opposite direction. The molecules oscillate rapidly between these two states due to quantum entanglement. When in this state, they become very good at detecting tiny microchanges in the magnetic field. With the Earth's magnetic field being very, very weak, this is the only way we think that the field can be sensed and used in the way in which birds do. It is believed that at least some migratory birds, such as robins like Rob, are able to see the field in the form of light-sensitive proteins in their eyes. They found that these proteins have very similar quantum properties to the spin chemistry molecules as stated before. This has been tested in a wide series of experiments. During one study with encaged migratory birds, when trapped for long periods of time, they are still able to continue facing in a direction they would migrate in spring or autumn depending on when it was tested. This implies that they can still feel and know the pull of the direction in which they need to go. Then, after a radio frequency was played that doesn't affect any magnetic-based compass system around the birds, it messed with their sense of direction. This wouldn't have happened if the birds were using any kind of magnetic-based sensing of the field. So yeah, Rob is very complicated and mysterious when it comes to how he can do what he can do, but all this brings up a few questions. Mainly, why does any of this matter? Why should we care about any of this? Well, it matters because Earth's electromagnetic field isn't the only magnetic field we're all exposed to. As humans have begun putting off their own electromagnetic fields in the form of things like radio, microwaves, and other signals. We use these signals to do big things like power data centers, all the way down to small things like power lines and transformers. Currently, we don't know how all these signals are affecting us, let alone the wildlife. Studies have shown that these signals can do things as bad as causing cancer in extremely high doses, or even death. If you look at this graph, you can see just how much we increase the levels of EMF. It shows that these levels vary greatly throughout the day because of us, peaking at around noon when we're most active and falling while we sleep. It has been seen affecting small things like confusing sharks and making them waste energy attacking things like boats or ripping out underground power lines. We don't fully understand these effects because we can't sense these things ourselves. All kinds of things use these signals to function, not just the animals I brought up. Things like foxes, dogs, and more rely on these signals being consistent and could experience any manner of bad effects if we keep screwing with it. The more we understand how they sense these things, the better we can solve such problems in the future. So yeah, we should really figure that out.